Hello, everyone, and welcome to More Than Just Mum, the podcast. I am super excited today to be sharing the podcast with Jenny Dougall. Not Google. I'm so sorry, Jenny. I had to get that in
Ah,
there. Um, because do you know what? It's all about brand awareness and being known. And if that gets you known and that gets you remembered, then happy days, as well as all your amazing work. So we've got Jenny Dougall on the call today, and me and Jenny met back in November 2021 at a networking event um, where I remember a story about some newspaper. Um, um,
you remember all the good bits?
I do, yeah. See, it's the stories. It's the stories that people remember, and that is the first great reminder today of this podcast is that sharing your story, like sharing the funny bits, sharing the mishaps, sharing the bloopers, because people remember those. So, Jenny, who are you? What do you do? Where are you from? Let us know.
So I am from Derbyshire, which is why we met in-person networking. I am a business coach that helps coaches get past 5K months, who are currently stuck with inconsistent revenue, feeling a bit lost in what to actually do to move their business forward. And I help them to clear the chaos of the day to day, give them clarity, focus, and structure so they can scale their business to six figures. Alongside that, I'm a mum to three children, currently aged 9, 5, and 3. I
Well
have to remember.
remembered.
I have to remember because there's birthdays coming up soon.
Yeah.
um, and yeah, recently dog mum as well, just to add to the chaos of everything else. Why not?
Amazing. Well, like, yeah, exactly. Why not? Amazing. So, um, we've known each other quite a few years, and I've seen you go on quite a significant journey. There have been pivots and curveballs and all sorts of roller coaster rides that have happened. But you haven't always been self-employed. You started off employed. So do you want to share with people about your journey, how you went from employment to self-employment and sort of then the joys of motherhood and all of that jazz?
So I spent 15 years in the corporate world, sort of working my way up. And I became a finance manager of a business. And but along with that came an awful lot of hours. And had um I'd had my eldest William at the time.
Mm.
Um and I'd become a single mom with him, and it just resulted that I was never seeing him. Um, I would literally be the first person to drop him off the second the nursery doors opened at like 7:30 in the morning,
Mm.
and I'd be cutting it fine to get there at 6 o'clock at night to go and pick him up. I'd get him in bed just about, and then I'd have to open the laptop and do some more work because that's what was just expected. Um, and like I just it got out of hand.
Mm.
I was like, this is getting a bit ridiculous. I'm never seeing him. What is the point? Um, so I dropped down to a part-time role. Um, and then I fell pregnant with Elsie, who's now 5. And um that didn't go down very well with my employer at the time. Um, and ended up being that they made a decision that my role no longer existed.
Wow.
Um, so I think I was almost 7 months pregnant with no job, and
Wow.
obviously, you know, unemployable at that point. You can
Hmm.
take one look at me and go, I don't think so. So yeah, that was the point that it all kind of changed. And I decided to try and do something for myself. Um, I wasn't I wasn't one of these people that I knew that I needed something for me. I'd gone back to work after having William because I knew that I needed
Mm.
to have something that was just for me and that just sort of, made my brain work a bit more.
Yeah.
Um, and and to get me out of the house.
I'm sure a lot of mums that are listening to this, a lot of women can relate to that. Absolutely.
So yeah, so when I lost my job and I was about to have Elsie, I was like, oh well, I know I'm going to take some time off,
Mm.
but at the same time, I I don't want to have nothing. Like there's no
Yeah.
set time here because I don't have a job to go back to. And my husband runs his own business. Um, I was doing his accounts for him, obviously. It's a bit of a given when that's what you do for your career.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what you're expected to do. So I was already doing that for him, but I started doing like more admin work for him, and I had come across this like virtual assistant role
Hmm.
when I'd worked as an accountant. Um, people had virtual assistants. So so I knew this role existed. I knew there was a need for it. And I was just like, well, I've got the skills, so
Yeah.
let's give it a go. Um, Secretly very excited because I'd always wanted my own business. I just didn't know what I wanted it
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so kind of fell into that kind of way. And it was funny because obviously I'd had Elsie a couple of months later, and then I was sort of lockdown happened because
Hmm.
it was well, I had Elsie at the end of 2019, and then lockdown happened at the beginning of 2020. So everything was on Zoom, and obviously Elsie wasn't going to any kind of childcare or anything.
Hmm.
So I would very, very frequently I would be known as the lady with the baby because Elsie would be sat on my knee on these Zoom calls to the point that like she was recognized in the supermarket.
Oh wow. I
So,
love that.
it's like 2020, we're all going to the supermarket and we've got these masks on,
Yeah.
and you
Well,
kind
yeah.
and you kind of think that you recognize people, but you're not
Yeah.
really sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then and I'm walking around Aldi pushing the trolley, Elsie in the trolley, just doing my shopping with my mask on, and then and and this guy like from across the aisle kind of like starts giving me this like funny look, and I'm like, well, what you doing? And he sort of like and he sort of pulled his mask and he was like, is it Jenny? And I was like, yeah. He said, I know. He said, I knew that baby. And it was somebody that I'd been on these networking calls with every single week.
Oh,
He was like,
brilliant.
he recognized me from
Yeah.
Elsie, not from me. And
Oh,
so yeah, she was clearly helping me with my business and
yeah.
my
Yeah.
advertising for a little while. So yeah, but there was an awful lot of juggling going on, bouncing babies on your knee while you're trying to
Yeah.
do stuff on the laptop and you know rock the pram with one hand and type with the
Yeah.
other. So whilst we were at home, but yeah, then it was um then I met you. Then life started
Mm.
opening up again. The world started opening up again, and we got to meet face to face again
Yeah. Yeah.
finally. And yeah, I think I bumped into you at networking in Derby.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a pub. I think it was in Borrowash, I think. Um, I think it was Borrowash, and it was nearly
Yeah,
it was November, and I remember going to that meeting, and I was like this, like I was really really nervous because I come across really confident online, but in person I get quite nervous and quite shy.
you could not
When
tell at that meeting that you were nervous.
but when I first got there, I was like this, and I was like proper sweating, and I think this is like a really good another like top tip is even if you're feeling nervous about something, like still go to it, because when you are surrounded by other mums in business, they're just a different vibe. Like it's just so
Yeah.
friendly. Like um I'm going on holiday in a couple of weeks with she's a client and she's a friend, and I didn't even know her 2 years ago. And she came to the in-person day in 2023. Like she booked her ticket 2 weeks before, and then she's not left me alone since. Like she came to that event. She just said to me the other night on a call that we were just having a coffee and a chat, and she was like, I just came to that event and I just felt so welcomed, and I wanted to do the retreat, and I wanted to work with you one-to-one, and I wanted to do the membership, and I just wanted to be a part of this thing. And so sometimes we have to push ourselves out of our comfort zone and go to the networking event. And I went to one the other week, it was brand new. And I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? Like this afternoon tea, what am I doing? And from that has come so many connections. Like me and you were going to like a what's it called? Like a co-working session, next month together. And that's come from I found out about that through this networking. And you just don't know how many opportunities are going to open up for you. So go to networking events in person because they're so different and you just meet some lovely people, don't you, Jenny?
You do. Like it was one of those things. Like I turned up to that meeting just so nervous
Mm,
because my business was still so brand new and I'd not really spoken to anybody in
yeah.
person about it. I just sort of, well, I'm hiding behind my laptop, and if I get
Yeah.
nervous, I'll just go, okay, shut the laptop, that's it, I'm done now, hide.
Yeah.
In my own living room, it's all turned off. Um, but to go and literally sit there and tell everybody, right, okay, this is what I'm doing now,
Mm,
and have and do that with confidence is it's scary. It is scary.
yeah.
Um, but the more you do it, just the more natural it comes. And I just think,
Yeah.
like you say, it's one of those you just kind of got to bite the bullet a little bit and go and do it.
Mm,
And when you do, like so many good things are going to come from it. Like
mm,
you know, I think it's Jenny that was running the meeting at the time. She's, been now since been to my kids' school and gotten new books for the school and things
yeah.
like that wouldn't have happened if I'd have never gone to that meeting because I wouldn't
Mm,
have met her. So it's not just about what you do for your business either. It has a personal effect.
yeah. Absolutely.
People that we've met, like even like
Yeah.
consider friends
Yeah.
now, and they're not just. It's building that sort of network of people that just get it because
Yeah. I was
you
gonna
know
say
like
just like-minded
just
people that
totally.
understand. Yeah.
Yeah, because like my parents have not got a clue what I do. They've been on my website and everything and like read what I do and still gone, I don't get what you do. Um, and I my husband doesn't really understand what I do either, other than
Yeah.
you sit on your laptop and you talk to people online, Jenny. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what my husband's like. You just sit on your ass on your phone all day. Like he doesn't quite say it like that, but I know that like, because we can literally work from our beds. Like last week, obviously I've got two businesses. I signed a customer up, saved her 450 quid. I earned 250 quid in half an hour with both boys sat either side of me because they were poorly in my bed in half an hour. And it's like, that's not work. Yeah, it is. Like, do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like, we can go out for lunch and we can go and that's working because we're talking about our businesses, we're helping each other, we're coaching each other, and helping with ideas and getting each other inspired, and that is work.
And like I'd like to say that is, yes, it's more how work is when you're growing it online, but it applies offline as well.
Yeah.
Like, um, there was a little bit of a light bulb moment that it was the other week, and um, we were talking about business, and like as with mine, because I've had child number three since it's been sort of picked up, put down a
Yeah.
bit, picked
Yeah.
up, put down a bit, and it ends up sort of being this kind of like roller coaster of kind of income, as does my husband's business, because lockdown just shut
Yeah.
him down. Um, but yeah, but we're having this conversation with my dad, and he was like, right, okay, so what we're trying to do is build this business back up, and what he said was like 80% of business is just conversations.
Hmm.
it's talking to people as much as you possibly can about what you do and how, and letting them know what you do.
Yeah.
Because once people know what you do, they might not need your help themselves, but they might be in a situation where they can recommend you.
Yeah.
He was sat, he was like, oh, as you know, I need some more business cards of Phillips, because he was like, oh, I was sat in this coffee shop the other morning and someone came in and they were asking the shop owner, did they know anybody that did this, that, and the other job? And he was like, sat there and he was like, he said, Philip's name was on the edge of my lips. He said, but I didn't have any information
Yeah,
to
that
give.
happened.
He says, so give me some business cards so that I
Yeah.
does that, give me a wad of them so
Yeah.
I can hand them. He said, because I could have literally got out my seat and gone, here, have this
Yeah.
at that point in time. And obviously that's not anything to do with Philip's not gone to a networking meeting. I've
No.
not been anywhere. I'm not talking directly, but he knows what he does and is willing
Mm.
to recommend him.
Yeah.
And is like, it's just it, and you know, my dad was very sort of like heavily involved in business and getting contracts and things when he was in, he's retired now, but when he was in his job.
Yeah.
And he was like, and the way that you do that is it's just having conversations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I was at buying my youngest a Beavers jumper the other day at there's a little shop in Derby. And there was a woman that came in. She's like, oh, me son's moving house in a few weeks. And I was bloody kicking myself. And she's like, oh, he's got all these bills to sort out. And I thought, why have I not got a card or something to give her? I don't know, I'm shaking like this. Like, why have I not got a card or something to give to her? And sometimes it's just opening your mouth and going, look, I obviously just overheard your conversation, so I apologize. But I help people with that. If you want to have it, I should have just, what I should have done is got a piece of paper and a pen,
Just right, yeah.
but and I've been doing this 12 years, but sometimes I still get like tongue-tied and I still get so that like if you've got other people to do things for you like that, like my mother and father-in-law like hand out my cards like all the time, work colleagues and stuff like that, and when the conversation, but the word of mouth is so powerful, and you're only going to do that by having this conversation with people.
In the first place, like in the first
Yeah,
instance, you've got to have
you,
those
if your
conversations.
mouth is shut, your shop is closed.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't have those conversations, people don't know what you do and they
No.
can't refer you. And it is, you know, it's one of the most powerful things
Mm,
that can happen and can totally just snowball the momentum of
yeah,
business. Because, you know, if you think about how many times you recommend something to one of your friends,
yeah.
whether it be something you've watched on Netflix, or yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, how often do you go, oh, have you seen such and such, that you've watched it on
yeah,
Netflix? You know, you just recommending a program and you'll go and watch it because your friend told you it was good.
yeah.
So and you trust them. You,
Mm,
you trust them to know what you like and what you don't like. Same as like if they recommended a restaurant, you go, oh, I want to, this my birthday's
yeah,
coming up. Where should,
yeah,
I want to go for an Italian. Like, have you been anywhere good? If they told you somewhere they thought was good, you'd go
yeah. Exactly. Yeah,
without question.
yeah. And it's like, I'm obviously we're both in the online space, and the amount of people that I speak to, and I'm sure that you have conversations with people too. I don't know why I've frozen. I am still here. That say, oh, business is slow. Well, when was the last time you promoted a bath? When was the last time you shouted about your business? When was the last time you told people about what you do, or you went to a networking event, or you did this or you did that? Um, and sometimes our businesses change, don't they?
They
And
do.
they
It
pivot.
has.
So your business has changed. So I did hire you as my VA, and you were absolutely flipping amazing.
Thank you.
Um, and I was gutted when you pivoted. But this is the thing as well, because we have to follow our heart on our own journey. And we have to do what makes us happy and what makes us feel good, because otherwise we're going to do a crap. Well, you start resenting what you're doing, don't you? So,
You
so
do.
like, has your business journey then, since you were a VA, like been plain sailing, or have you just had to like pivot and reassess and like refresh and then refocus and then like
I have lost track of the amount of times I have had to review what I'm doing and pivot and change. And like, it's not always, it's not always been a complete pivot. Like
Hmm.
in actual fact, it's probably pivoted twice. So, I went from being a VA and I retrained and I studied digital marketing and I sort of went into funnels. Um, and then because of all the, essentially I'd done a lot of strategy, even just as a VA, to sort of give advice, because
Yeah.
you you build up this knowledge. When you're in the corporate world, especially as an accountant, you see an awful lot of different businesses and how they work and all this kind of stuff. Um, Along with just like it's my interest anyway, always has been. Um, so yeah, so I was always drawing upon this knowledge and these experience that I'd had to add extra in.
Mm.
Um, and I sort of realized that actually that was the bit that I really enjoyed. It wasn't so much the actual VA work, it wasn't so much the actual funnel building. It was, it was the strategy, um it was the guidance and the advice and the just the experience that I could pass
Yeah.
which then turned my business into coaching. Um so yeah, and it's exactly like what you said. Like it's just following my passion.
Yeah.
The passion for my business has always been that side of things.
Hmm.
So, and now that is the main thing rather than the side thing.
Yeah.
But like there's just I think there was actually a question. Somebody put a question in one of their Facebook groups. Like what looking back over the last 5 years, what's happened for you since.
Mm.
And I was like, right, okay, well, since 2020, say for
Yeah,
instance,
because it was lockdown this time 5 years ago, which is mad.
well, I was just like, right, okay, so I just had a baby. I've since then had another one. We've gotten a dog. I've started a business. I pivoted through twice since then. I've retrained. Um, I've gotten so much clarity on what I want to do,
Hmm.
and where I want to be and how I can help people. But I also feel like I've done so much work as a person
Yeah, you have. Yeah.
on like just on myself and being comfortable with who I am and finding myself again. Because you do tend to get a little bit lost and put to the back of the pile, back of the queue when you become, especially when you become a mum.
Yeah.
Um, that and I think that there's just been so much work and so much development. And I think it's always going to be like a bit of an ongoing thing, perhaps not quite so intensive as it has been the last 5 years, because it gets a bit exhausting after a bit. But but like when I look at all the things that I've achieved, like I'm
Yeah.
now, when I was in my corporate job, I remember literally going through. I'd got like 20 days holiday a year, and William had just started nursery, like nursery school, like term time nursery school, and they were starting to have events. And obviously, I knew what the school calendar was like. Like I knew
Yeah.
plays and Christmas plays and parents and that kind of thing. Um, and when he was at nursery, they were having these days, and they were like, oh, inviting the parents in for these days, and then he got school holidays. And I felt really awful because I was having to go through the entire like school year alongside my holidays and go, right,
Mm.
which ones do I want to attend, which ones are more important, because I don't have
Yeah.
anywhere near enough holidays to cover
Mm.
everything that he's doing that I want to attend at nursery, and then also take a few days off just to have as for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and if he ends up being poorly, I've got to use my holiday days in order to cover him being poorly. And when they're
Mm.
toddlers, it's what happens.
Yeah.
You know, we pick up all sorts along the way. And, and obviously then I had Elsie, and I was like, this is only going to get worse because
Yeah.
now I've got two lots of kids that want me to attend things.
Mm.
And although, yes, they're going to be at home at the same time because of school holidays, that's that covered. But at least,
Yeah. Yeah.
Christmas plays are on different days and things like that. So, like, and I don't want to be forever counting that. And I think
No.
one of the things that I'm so proud of over the last 5 years is that I have, obviously, since school's open back up and
Yeah, yeah,
allowed back in, that I've attended everything. If
Mm.
there has been an event at school, I have I've been able to say, do you want me to come? And when they have said yes, I've got, okay.
Oh, I've got goosebumps. It is just such like I think we can sometimes forget, can't we? Like the power of being able to just say, yeah, not a problem, mummy will be there.
I will be
Like,
there for you.
oh my God, it is incredible.
And I am sat there like beaming when he's, well, Elsie now as well with like school nativity plays
Yeah.
and sports days. Elsie's yet to have her
Oh,
first
I love
sports day.
sports day.
And
Oh, I
just
love it.
literally just cheering them on at everything.
Yeah.
But also it's like the little things like, you know, they do like a star of the week type thing.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And so they have a special assembly on a Friday. And I've noticed, when we've been sort of called in, there are some mornings on a Friday morning because you get like a text on Wednesday,
Mm.
sort of lunchtime-ish, going, your kids star of the week, please come in.
Loads of notice, as always. Thanks,
Yeah,
school.
they do what they can do. I
They
mean,
do, they
they're
do.
doing it every week. It's got to be called at some point, and but
Yeah.
I'm so grateful that I have my own business and that
Hmm.
flexibility to be able to
Yeah.
know, okay, I've been sent a text on Wednesday. Yep, sure, I can attend Friday morning. And there's some mornings where it's a bit fuller than others, and there's some mornings and there's only been sort of like two parents sat there because because people can't take
Yeah.
time off work
Mm.
to be able to go. And I'm like, I am so grateful that I took
Yeah.
that leap and I decided this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And I'm going to, despite all the struggles and you know,
Yeah. Because it's not
challenges,
easy. It's not easy,
it's
but
not easy, it's
it's
hard.
so worth it.
But and all the work I've had to
Mm.
put in, and I'm not going to say there hasn't been tears because there has.
I have, yeah.
There's been plenty of those along the way, but I keep going with it because it's so worth it for those
Yeah.
moments that, I can just say, the kids go,
Yes.
oh yeah, we're doing the other week, we're doing science this week, mummy, are you coming in? Like mummies and daddies are coming in. Yeah, I'm coming in. I'll be there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they literally told me, the kids told me about that the night before. I'm literally picking up at 3:30 and they're going, are you coming tomorrow, mummy? I'm like, coming to what? but because of the flexibility that I have, I was like, look, I don't have any scheduled Zoom meetings.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, I can flex that around and I can come to school. Of course I can.
Yeah.
And
Amazing.
the excitement on their faces when you walk through the door because you show up for them when they
Yeah.
really need you to show up for them is,
Mm. It is price like I'm getting goosebumps again. It is just the best feeling. Because parenting is hard, like being in business is hard. But for the rewards that you get from doing it and from having that, I think that courage and that faith from initially choosing to start a business, whether it's in network marketing, because you've dipped your toe in that, like whether it's in network marketing, whether it's in starting your own business, like whatever you choose to do, there'll be people listen to this today, that have got their own business. There'll be people that are in network marketing that have got their own business through that. There'll be people that are desperate to start their business and they are going, I'm really, really scared. What if, what if, what if, what if it doesn't work? What if this, what if that? What if it does work? What if, yes, it's really hard and you have to juggle and you have to put in extra hours. And I remember when I started this business, I was up till 2 in the morning because I'd got a trial membership for 2 weeks. It was £1, and I just invested 12 weeks one-to-one, and I literally had no more money to pay the £39. So at the time, I had a 5 and a 2-year-old. I was up till 2 in the morning learning and literally like rinsing that membership because I just needed to get all the knowledge. And then my youngest was up at 4, and I was knackered, but I tell you what, it was worth it. And you have to make sacrifices sometimes, like giving up the television for some doing some learning or some studying, or there'll be times where your kids really want you to put them to bed, but you've got a session on a Sunday evening, and you know that that session is only half an hour and it's going to really help the rest of your week. It's about switching things up, making things a priority, and just going all in. Or if you have still got to work your job as well, figuring out how you can do it and making it a priority, because yes, it's tough. Yes, it's challenging. But I tell you what, I'd much rather have two businesses than have a job, because you've got that flexibility and that freedom, and you've just portrayed it. You just can't put a price on that. Um,
You can't at all. You really can't. Like, I mean, and I went back to it for a little bit.
mm,
Like, one of my clients loved what I did to the point that she offered me a full-time job. She was like, and she literally made me an offer that I couldn't refuse. And the experience there was great, but it didn't last long. It didn't even last a year. It was about 10 months, because the sacrifice of giving up that family time
mm,
and being there for my kids, I was like, it's too much. I'd
yeah,
kind of forgotten a little bit what this was like. And then when I went back to, not having it,
yeah,
and it was just, I was like, if this is not worth it,
mm,
like I did all this in the first place so that I could be there for them. And that's what I want. And by taking that employed job,
yeah,
albeit what I was doing as a business, but by doing it as employed, the
mm,
flexibility had gone. And
yeah,
that was the thing. And I don't think I truly realized that until that happened.
yeah. And it's good to have that sort of reflection or that experience again, isn't it? Um, to just remind yourself. Because I've
Yeah.
often thought, oh, I'll just go and get a job. It's going to be so much easier. Then I'm like, yeah, but what about holidays? Like 13 weeks of school holiday. We're gonna have to wrap up in a bit because
Yeah.
we could talk for about 3 hours, I'm sure. Um, but like 13 weeks school holiday year. Well, what if the kids are poorly? What if you're sick? Like you still have to have that extra time off. And I remember being employed, and I was really poorly when I was pregnant. And because I'd been off 3 times in 3 months, I got called into the office, and they're
Yeah.
like, "You're not allowed to be poorly." I'm like, "Well, sorry.
Mm.
What do you want me to do about it?" Like, I've just had a week and a half off because I've had no one bothering me. My clients have all been understanding because I work with people that get it. There are just so many benefits too. This probably needs to be another podcast, like to have having your own business. Um, so I am gonna wrap it up there. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
Um,
Maybe a top tip or something. I don't know.
my top
Go
tip
on.
would probably be to focus on one thing at a time. Don't try to do it all at once. And actually, I think you'll like this, because I have
Ooh.
right here a little.
Oh, that's from the in-person day in
This is
2020.
from
What
this is from
too?
your own person, and you can't sit there, but it says you can do anything, but not everything. You can do anything you want to do. You
Yes.
cannot do everything all at once. Focus on one thing at a time and get there, and then do the next, and then do the next.
Oh, I love that you brought that on here. That's so good. I've not got mine.
That was very impromptu. It is just on my desk all the
There
time.
you go. Like that's amazing. So thank you so much for joining me today. Do you want to tell people where they can come and find you?
So I am primarily on Facebook and Instagram. I am a little bit on LinkedIn as well, as Jenny Dougall Business Strategy.
Fabulous. All of your links and stuff that you're going to send me over. Um,
I will pop those across to you.
and your will all be in the show notes. I love saying that. This has been like 4 years in the making, so to finally be able to say it, I say it on every episode. I just love it. But yeah, if anyone wants to go and find Jenny, she will also be at the in-person day. She's going to be my wing woman for the day, and she does an amazing job at that as well. So yeah, if you haven't booked your in-person day ticket yet for Sunday, the 11th of May, then please go to morethanjustmum.com/live 2025 or drop me a message. There are a few tickets remaining. Fabulous. Have a wonderful day and thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.